Hello everyone, it is me, GamePenguin21, and today, you saw the title. Oh boy, we're talking about Sweet Baby Ink and stuff today. Yikes. So, what happened? Well, this was a smaller sort of game that decided to come out, and it is called Tales of Azura, I'm going to fuck up the names, but it's called Zau, Z-A-U. I'm going to call it that, and I hope that I'm going to say it correctly. But, obviously, I don't speak the language, stuff like that. But, this is a sort of precision platformer story type game where it's about getting into roots in Africa, I think. I don't know the specifics. All that I do know is that it is something called Afrofuturism, which is this sort of movement that takes cyberpunky stuff but puts it through an African-styled lens, which is a really interesting and cool aesthetic. And honestly, I think that I could get behind that sort of aesthetic as like an idea. But this game, to me, didn't really spark that interest, and overall, it's a fine game. It looks okay for what it is, but you'll see why it's only gotten around 200-ish people actually playing the game. But, of course, just to do a quick shill bit, 1K subscribers by the end of the year, please, and thank you. I know that I've been begging and pleading and hoping for that happening, but we get closer every day, and even one subscribe from this video always makes me feel happy. So thank you so much for that, and all the like and supporting and stuff. Number 2, music, links in the description. If you want to listen to some of my Bandcamp stuff, I'm looking to get onto Spotify and other things, but I need to make a decision, and that decision's going to be very odd. And number 3, I do stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/GamePenguin21. Follow me there to check out when that happens. So, yeah. So, of course, we're going to start this off with Kabrutis. Now, Kabrutis, for those of you who may or may not know, is the guy who runs the Sweet Baby Ink, or DEI, or whatever, detected Steam group. Now, whatever you feel on that is different depending on how you look at it. But he decided to make a tweet, and this tweet was, "Sup guys, just wanted to remind that Zau is gonna launch today." This was back when the launch date was there. You can see how late I am to the party on this. This game is on Sweet Baby Ink detected curator page, and yeah, it is connected to Sweet Baby Ink. Remember, vote with your wallet. Now, this tweet garnered a lot of ire from several different people, mainly the people trying to be against Mr. Kabrutis himself. Now, of course, we have then Final Fantasy Prophet on TikTok coming over here with an "I'm sorry, but I can't pretend that these are not the dumbest people walking on the face of the earth." Of course, talking about Kabrutis here. And then Demarcus says, all he said was vote with your wallet, and you, not going to say that word, got offended for no reason. I'm going to have to also blank that word out, please. Moving on. But that's one of the things here that's also really interesting, right? Is the fact that the majority of the backlash from Kabrutis' tweet seems to be from the people who are who like Sweet Baby Ink, and who understand that they're like the best thing to happen in gaming, or they at least think that they understand that. To me, my stance has not changed on this matter, and this would not change it even the slightest. Because since I am an artist and I'm looking at it from someone of a creative perspective, if you have to go to a consulting firm to make sure that you're not offending people with your art, you do not understand what the fuck art is. Like, it's not meant to be inclusive all the time. You're not meant to get art the entirety of the time. "Oh, but video games are different because, well, you're interacting with it and it's a game and it's a media type thing." Yes, but gaming is also an art. TV shows are also an art. I think that you can do representation and stuff good, but the way that you do it, if you have to outsource it to someone else because you don't understand the representation part of it, that's not good art. You're going to make the art suffer because of it. Just full stop. Next up, we have here with Nicola saying 2 fun games came out, and we can talk about, and we choose to talk about is some BS political nonsense. And yeah, this is an interesting take here as well, where I actually agree with Nicola. Funny enough, where people are talking about Zhao and Stellar Blade as if they are like pinnacles of representation and straight up corn or whatever, without the C replacing with a P. You know what I mean. So it's one of those, and you know exactly, just the thing is, with these 2 types of games and stuff, they're talked about in different lights, and it's just overall, yikes. Next up, we have X-Vault Gaming. Now, I had to steal this from Astro Cyborg because X-Vault Gaming actually blocked me on Twitter because I fucked him over in, well, talk in a debate, I guess, on Twitter, where he says, if you follow kabrutis, this racist piece of shit, let me know so I can block you. This garbage is not tolerated, and the world needs to echo the intolerance. What? Also, I'm buying myself a copy, so F this guy. Was he one of the 200 people that actually bought it? Unsure. But again, I find it interesting how X-Vault, I don't know if he's pro or anti SBI. If he's pro, then this kind of falls in line. If he's anti, then why? Because here's the thing, the people who are like, there were some people I think that were like Mutahar that said like, oh, you should actually support this game because it's good and stuff, and then it's being racist. But with this game, it's being racist because why? Like, that's the problem here. Why is saying that, hey, this right here was made by Sweet Baby Inc., so if you want that information to be known, here's that information. Which I always find really dumb with these kinds of, with the people of SBI. Why would they not want their games to be known, what the games that they've worked on? Because they're scared of the people who are against them? Like that, why? Like that makes no sense to me. Like that's never made any sense to me. Why the people who are these kinds of, anyway, next up we've got Underdog BT with a, hey, do y'all remember how those fools love to tell black folks to make their own stuff? And then it actually happens, they proceed to shit on it and call it woke, and in this case, DEI. Yeah, you anti-woke motherfuckers do nothing but try to make people as miserable as you. I believe that's really funny. I think that right there is another sense of projection, where it's like, you anti-woke people always try to make yourself as miserable as you feel. But if you replace if you just get rid of the anti and you just replace it with woke, I feel like there's a lot of people who would also agree with that, where it's like the woke people are also trying to make people as miserable as possible. I mean, again, if Fritz's sort of massive meltdown that I can only assume is the result of him just huffing too much salt for whatever reason, like, is any indication, I think that people are getting sick, and because they're just now understanding the fact that when everyone's represented, no one is, to kind of steal a line from The Incredibles. It's one of those things. Next up, we have Lee with trying to quote people on why can't you guys just make your own games? Make your own game. No, not like that. It's like, that's not what we're talking about. And that's not the problem here. The reason that he's even mentioning this is because Sweet Baby Inc. is something that he vehemently doesn't like, and that a lot of people vehemently don't like. And again, I don't understand why people take this so out of context. All that he said was to vote with your wallet. If you want to support this game but don't like SBI, you're gonna have to make that decision of whether or not you want to get this game, despite the fact that Sweet Baby Inc. was involved. You know, it's the same sort of system where, you know, if you want to buy, say, something from Nvidia, but you know that AMD has like better specs for for the build of the 3 that you want, but you want a gaming laptop, but you can only afford like one of them, you're going to have to make that decision as to whether or not what kind of bullshit you're willing to eat that day. It's not like he's saying, oh, don't buy this game because there's a woke propaganda. It's like, no, he's not saying that. All that he's saying was, hey, Sweet Baby Inc. was involved in this project. Vote with your wallets, but I know where I stand. Like, that's all that he said. And then everyone in the other side always takes it out of context so far to be like, oh, well, that person's like doing that. It's his own opinion. If you want to disagree with it, that's fine. But if you're going to take him in such a way that you make memes and shit like this, basically saying that he's bitching and moaning when he's clearly not, there's obviously a problem with you on your end with the miscommunication, not his end, because he communicated his stuff quite well, I would say. He doesn't want to support it because he doesn't want to support Sweet Baby Inc., and that's his opinion. Next up, we've got Fuzzy here with saying, this is the wrong game to boycott. It's a brand new IP made by a very sincere creator. Whatever you are interested in his vision or not is beside the point. That's not true. Interested in his vision is the point. Like, the point of buying the game is because you are interested in what story he has to tell. It is a single-player game. But there needs to be room for folks to make this the sort of game they want to make regardless of content. Again, no one is arguing that the content of the game is bad. They're just saying that we don't want to support the SBI involvement in this. Also, it's a good game with excellent movement and feel. Again, no one is saying that the game is bad. Or at least I'm not saying that. Alright? I don't think kabrutis was saying that either. The people who might be saying that are the people who are actually playing the games, because if I'm remembering correctly, it has like a 76 and a 6.5 on Metacritic as of the time of me saying this sentence. So the biggest thing here is that no one's debating whether or not this is a good game when it has involved this specific thing, when it was being talked about at this time. Everyone was always saying like, oh, this game had Sweet Baby Inc. involvement, which I, again, find really weird because according to at least the developer, this is supposed to be a way to deal with specific... I think Mighty Keith here explains it actually a little bit better than I can, saying, a black man made a game feed in his Kenyan culture and in the people, and in the comments, and the comments are saying things like DEI. This is what I mean when I say people are just shit. People just say shit they hear others say without having any idea what the word means. I'm getting the game to spite these weirdos. So basically just saying that, hey, Sweet Baby Inc. was involved in this project, right? And this project is one that's good, but I don't personally like the Sweet Baby Inc. involvement, therefore I'm not going to buy it, is bad logic. Again, this is one of the things that I find really dumb here. And what you might also might also understand, or also in a weird sense here, is that Sweet Baby Inc. scrubbed this game as well as several other games from their actual website. They trying to hide the fact that they are getting involved in these games. But, like, why? Like, that's the biggest question here. For me, why would they want to not make their involvement known in these games? Because to me, that makes... That helps. That helps the game. That helps the person be informed as to what was involved in it. As soon as you start hiding shit from consumers, people will basically come after you in a very negative way, because no one likes hiding stuff from you. Like, they especially when it comes to these companies, like, that's the biggest issue that I have with this, is the fact that they're trying to hide a lot of this shit. Next up, we got Leeson here with people who complain about SBI are engagement farmers and suffer from brain rot, and y'all fall for it thinking they actually care about the quality of games and the industry. Look at this effing tweet and what game they talking about. I am, and yes, one of the things Also, so recently I've had friends ask me, or at least one friend in particular, who continuously asks me, like, why do I care? Why do I keep creating this sort of content on things like SBI and things like talking about this and that and the other thing, and why I talk and do what I do? And I care because I care about the art and the creation of something interesting and beautiful. I care about the art. I care about the methods and the methodologies and the thought process behind making video games, making videos, and understanding the contents and the context of what that piece of media or piece of art is trying to say. Now, if they want to go a political angle, that's completely fine, but that's always up to the creator. And why I care so much about SBI being involved is that taints the creative process. Because when you get a third party involved, right, a third party that is specifically designed to sandpaper out all of the rough edges, the things that can be left up to interpretation, the factors of what makes a character good, when they sandpaper and sandblast that all away, you're left with nothing, right? Nothing of substance, just paper cutouts of what could have been characters. And to me, that's where the art suffers. Take a look at, say, I don't know, a Banksy, and tell me that that's not politically charged in such a way that is creatively interesting to look at, that says something without needing to be inclusive in fucking everyone, right? That says and delivers a message for it, right? Without needing to consult a firm or people or anything like that. That's how I feel. I don't dislike the game Zao. I haven't played it. I can't dislike it. I literally can't say that this game is bad because I haven't played it. But with Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement, that makes me take a step back and not want to play it. I was interested in the game. I really was. It looked a little boring, but I might have gotten it eventually. But with Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement, that eventually gets kicked the can down the road more. Because I don't want to support a system where a person whose culture, by the way, whose culture was like his own first-hand experience, where he still had to go to Sweet Baby Inc. for whatever reason to make his vision more inclusive. Are you kidding me? Anyway, moving on here, we have deuces high with a this part really is effing stupid. Is dumbass will cry about diversity like this isn't a diverse country. Kabrutis lives in Brazil. I'm not sure how diverse Brazil is, and I'm fairly certain it's fairly diverse in terms of culture and stuff, absolutely. But for me, I think that he's talking about America, right? So Kabrutis lives, again, in Brazil, so that insult means very little in terms of that, so whoops. Next up, we've got what do you mean DEI stuff. With they've reached a point of boycotting a complete AA game with no microtransactions made by a passionate gamer in order to check notes, make gaming better. These people don't give a shit about the gaming industry. I mean, again, that to me sounds a lot like projection, because I don't think this person cares about the gaming industry if they're complaining about this. Because again, the game developer might have the passion and the gamer and the stuff like that, but the person who made the game still had to go to Sweet Baby Inc. for whatever reason. Even if it's a AA game, okay, cool. But if it's his culture, his understanding, his vision to make the game, why does he have to go to another person in order to say, hey, is this art good? you really don't need to do that, and you really shouldn't do that. Because again, going to a corporatized emporium of DEI or whatever doesn't help the art in the long term. Or at least it doesn't help the art reach a wider audience, because again, to bring up that quote from before that I said, when everyone's represented, really no one is. It's the problem here. Now, eventually, Grums does get involved in here, saying, no games that do this for just 2 years, and you will make it stop. Yeah, meaning that he says no to games that do this for just 2 years, and they will make it stop. Retweeting the one there. And then a reply here from Savage the Witcher says, I know this is going to be a hot take, but I actually think you're in the wrong on this one, Grums. Ever since the whole SBI thing started, I've been 100% on board with everything you said, but in this instance, I think you are crossing a line a bit. Let me explain what I mean. Now, I didn't get the second part of this comment, so I think what he's going to say is that this is not a case of SBI because the person is in the culture and trying to make it a way that he does it. But Grum's response is here saying, it's up to the consumer to decide, but I recommend that no SBI title be purchased. No company can ever think to go the DEI direction again. This can only be won if we are willing to accept that they are willing to do anything to punish DEI. If I wear kids' gloves, then they win. And that's one of the things as well that I think Grums and several other people who are against this are more ballsier than myself. To me, I have friends, and I know that DEI can be helpful. It can be, very much so. And representation, to me, is still very important. I want representation. I advocate for representation. But I advocate for good representation. Representation that makes a character have more depth, more understanding, more interactions and creations of the world. To me, it's one of those things where the actual game is not the issue. It's the stuff surrounding it. It's the people and the creative decisions that were made that were then corrupted by the people who are trying to weaponize and fight against the people who have been doing this stuff. To me, overall, I don't care if you have to make a character one way or another way. What I care about is making a good character, understanding and creating the character that you want, the game that you want, the art that you desire, without relying on representation. I bring this quote up several different times in several different videos, but the Duckman quote of him versus comedy always sticks out in my mind whenever I get into stuff like this, saying, basically just demand to be challenged, to be offended, to be treated like thinking, reasoning adults, and raise your children to do the same. Don't let a congressional opinion or an evil genius or whatever tell you what to laugh at anything you want. And those words are powerful. And yes, he's talking about comedy in that context, but it applies to everything. Demand to be challenged by the media, yes, but demand that you be offended by that media as well, because being offended is not inherently bad. I mean, I get offended at specific things, but that doesn't mean that I have to engage with it all the time. It might sound confusing, but I'm trying my best to communicate across what I mean, right? The game was never the issue. The game being the way that it is was never the problem. My question is, what game would we have gotten had DEI or SBI not been a part of it? Would it have been better? Would it have been more interesting? Would the game have just arrived dead anyway? It's one of those big questions of, like, what if it didn't happen the way that it did? I guess we'll never know. Overall, my take on this is I'm just I don't know. I think that Zao is an okay game. It's an okay concept for a game. It's a great game concept. It's a great game aesthetic. One that you don't see often. And looks like it would be fun. But I don't think that I will be buying it because I was only partially interested in it before, and the Sweet Baby Ink thing might get me to take another step back to buying this game. Might. Probably not, but I mean, game's okay. Anyway, I guess that's it. I've ranted into this microphone for enough time now. My name is GamePenguin21. If you wanted to follow me on anything else or subscribe to the channel, everything down in that description below. Please like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and a peace. Off.